Hey, everybody. This is episode 4 of the Alternative Daily podcast. This is Jake Carney.
And I'm Megan Harris. I can't believe it's been 4 episodes already.
It has been 4 episodes.
This is really exciting.
Feels like 4 years.
And you know what? We're so thankful to everybody out there that's been listening to us and rating us. We were recently featured on iTunes under the new and noteworthy section. Actually, 2 different times. So that was really exciting.
Right next to Wayne Dyer's. If we had our faces on the preview, it would be us like looking at him or pointing to him.
We'd be right above. Yeah.
That's right. That's right.
So thank you, everybody, for listening to us and reviewing us and rating us on iTunes. We're also online at thealternativedaily.com, and our podcasts are also available on SoundCloud. That's soundcloud.com, of course, and you can also download that app. So we're pretty much everywhere you'd be able to find us. I sent you that photo. My girlfriend was sort of listening to us in the morning.
Yeah, that was really cool.
That was really cool.
It was like an Apple TV or something like that, and she was just streaming it.
Yeah.
It was perfect.
She probably just played it, took the photo, and stopped it, and then went back to the Today Show.
She had a beautiful coffee table.
I know. And that TV stand was nice, too.
The TV stand was nice. The plant, I think, was fake.
No, it's a real plant. It's actually a special kind of fig tree.
Ah.
I know. I was looking it up because we need to do a podcast on this. I have
fig trees?
Well, I have no green thumb, and I'm really, really trying to get some plants in our apartment and on our beautiful balcony.
Like real ones or fake ones?
Yeah, real ones. No, I don't want fake plants. You sound like my mother. I keep going, Mom, I don't want fake plants. But I want real ones, and she told me that this is a really nice one. But I looked it up, and it's not that it's super expensive.
Yeah.
It's just there was an article comparing it to a newborn baby, and you know how I feel about babies.
Wait,
well, just that it requires.
It
requires a lot of care and love. It's basically not for selfish people, and so it's out for me.
I had a funny story. Gina's aunt, who passed away last year, she was kind of known for giving really gaudy gifts, and she came over to our house one time.
Thank God she's not here to hear you say this.
Yeah, I'm gonna get struck by lightning here. But she had this. It was one of those bouquets that you get where it's just, I don't know if it is pretty or not, but it was like she gave it to us and it was there right there on the dinner table, and I went up and I smelled it, put my noses to it, and I was like, oh, this smells great. And Gina kept nudging me and stuff like that, and I was like, what? And so Aunt Carol was like, oh, I'm glad you guys like it. And we go into go in the room to get some cake. I think it was a birthday or something. She was like, it's a fake
I knew
plant.
You were going to say
And I was like, what?
That.
I was like, and I think they actually sprayed it with something to have it smell like it was just, it was like a big rose in the front, and I took a big old whiff.
You are such a faker.
I 100% thought it was real. I really, really did. And then I felt like such a rube after that.
Well, we do have a great episode planned for you guys today. As always, again, they are all available if you've missed any of them on iTunes, alternativedaily.com, and SoundCloud. But I feel like we're in school or something with morning announcements.
Yeah, I like it.
We have morning announcements. You have a very cool kind of giveaway that we're going to do.
I do. So obviously, we have some really cool, and I'm looking at it down there.
Is that the one we're giving away?
just one. We have a bunch of Alternative Daily hats. These are actually,
they're awesome.
I'm very particular about these hats. I guess I have a weird shaped head. I just want, I need something that kind of fits perfectly, and these hats fit perfectly.
They're amazing. You know what's funny is people say, and I know myself, I cannot wear hats, and this hat I look good in.
Yeah.
It's an amazing hat. It truly is. And my boyfriend, I keep telling you, is obsessed. Every time I come up here, he goes, can you get me a hat? Can you get me a hat?
I'll give you one. It's kind of a, I don't want to say it's like a trucker hat.
It's sort of
don't say that though. Don't say trucker.
It's not like the trucker hats of the Von Dutch days.
It's a mesh. It's a mesh back, and it's kind of got a little rugged, rough feel, kind of like the Alternative Daily, kind of going back to the woodsy type of thing.
It's really cool.
It's a snapback, but it's just it's a very soft fitting hat, and it's perfect.
It is awesome. We'll take some photos of it and we'll put it on Instagram.
So I have 50 of those to give away. 50.
Well, no,
yes.
Now you have 49 because I'm
That's
taking
right.
one for Colin.
And actually, it's so easy to get a free one. You're actually just going to have to wait about, I'm not even giving you how many minutes you're going to have to wait, but we're going to tell in the middle of the show, we're going to say how they can do it. It's going to be so simple to do that we'll do that. So remind me as we get into maybe
I'm making a note.
segment 2 or 3.
I'm making
Jake,
a note.
what is the free hat code to get it? It's so easy. It's free. You don't have to give me a credit card. You have to do anything. It's so easy. But you just have to wait till segment 2 or 3. So Megan just actually.
I just made a note about that right after segment 2, so we'll be able to do that. So I guess we are going to do some different things. We're actually going to invite somebody from the Alt Daily family to join us later on in the podcast.
Yeah, we're going to take phone calls. So it's kind of like a radio show.
We're going to post a photo on Instagram. Again, you can find us at the Alternative Daily on Instagram, and maybe we'll put this on Facebook too. You guys have got to see this professional setup that Jake and I are working with right now.
My wife walked into the house yesterday because all I wanted to do was just add a phone call, and apparently with the current setup, we couldn't do it. My wife walked into the room yesterday, and she's like, who do you think you are, Howard Stern?
Yeah,
And,
we look like Howard Stern and Robin.
I mean, it was just it's just like this big mixer thing that's in front of us. And it's funny, just to take a phone call, we needed it, but it kind of
You're
looks
such
cool.
a sucker. You probably walked in there and they're like, "Oh, we're gonna get this guy. We're gonna get this guy."
They did, yeah. And I was like, I just, this is what I needed to do. Like, you need this, and this. I actually had to go back twice to the store yesterday.
Oh, they love you.
Yes.
Every time they see you coming, they're like, "All right, I got this one. I got this one."
It was, but it's fun. It's kind of cool setting this up. But yeah, we actually did some testing. So we're gonna call Susan. And it may be a little kind of primitive because you might actually hear the phone ringing, but that could be kind of cool.
That's kind of cool too. It's
Maybe
like being on a radio show.
Yeah, you know what we can also do with it? We can actually make prank phone calls.
That'd be so fun. That would be another
just
podcast.
Call you a random number and just start saying stupid stuff.
This is us from WKLA. You've won.
Yeah, so episode 5 is all prank phone calls.
Yeah, that's
like the Jerky Boys.
That'll be fun.
Remember the Jerky Boys? Yeah. Are you just
I've
saying
heard
that?
of them.
Okay.
Well, anyways, let's get into our first little story. We wanted to do something that was kind of current events based and as it relates to fitness. And Jake sent me this article, and it really infuriates me. And I know that I know you're saying that because, of course, this is his whole MO is to infuriate people. But for those of you who are not aware, our Secretary of State, John Kerry, was in a bicycle accident last week, and he really, really injured himself. He actually broke his leg and his femur bone in his leg, and he was in this bicycle accident near Geneva where he was for some international talks. And so, of course, Rush Limbaugh, who has something to say about everything on his show, actually insulted John Kerry based on the fact that he was too old to be riding a bicycle. And I'll just read you part of what he said. And this is, I quote, "Do you know how old John Kerry is? It's tough, you know. You can't tell a horse's age when you look at it. And since Kerry looks like a horse, it's tough. But he's 71 years old. Now, would somebody tell me something? What is a 71-year-old man, the Secretary of State, doing riding a bicycle? Or, alternatively, windsurfing off Nantucket? Why is somebody riding a bicycle while in the midst of sensitive negotiations?" And blah, blah, blah. He goes on from there. He even says that, oh, if John Kerry's doing this for exercise, that's a bunch of BS. And so Jake and I think this is so interesting. And first of all, I know that Rush is a very polarizing person. But it's sort of funny that he would say that at 71 years old, you're too old to be exercising, because isn't that the point?
Yeah, and it's so funny when I sent this to you to look at and everything, you kind of came back and you were like, oh my God, this is so mean.
I know, I was really pissed.
He obviously, Rush Limbaugh is, I take
He's
it
an
as
ass.
I don't want to say that. I take it's kind of like entertainment, right? And there's people that buy into it, and there's people that listen to it and stuff like that. He's getting, we're talking about it, right? So he wins. He ultimately wins because that's what he wants, right? But the whole kind of standpoint of going into telling somebody they're too old to be exercising, I think it's just crazy. And Rush Limbaugh's not the face of fitness, right? He's not.
Exactly.
And I'm not here to point fingers and say, he's out of shape and look at him. But, as you're sitting there,
I'll say it.
He I kind of like I don't listen to him. I don't like watch him on a regular basis, but I'm curious about what kind of how he's doing his media stuff. And anytime like you see a video of him, I mean, he's just like red faced and just kind of like screaming into the microphone. And my first thought every single time as I think about that is, does
that
he
can't
sleep?
be good for his heart.
Does he sleep at night? Is he gonna have a heart attack? Who wants to live like that? They're just kind of like screaming and just constantly mad at something. So. I almost feel bad from him in that standpoint. But John Kerry, I think he said that further along in the quote that Rush Limbaugh had said that he was doing this for a photo opportunity, of getting on his bike and stuff like that, and trying to appeal to the younger masses, the millennials, etc.
Yeah, he said, quote, he was trying to do it for a photo op, trying to look hip with the young generation that thinks life is all about exercise and fitness and so forth. Oh, stupid young generation.
Yeah, it's just, but I will tell you this, riding a bike and wearing your helmet and like the tight pants and stuff like that, it's not like an attractive look. Even bikers,
of course
it's not. They're just doing it because it's the
best thing to do.
It's the best thing to do, and it helps them with the wind and everything. So somebody to dress up like that is you're not doing that for a photo op. Like
he knows he looks ridiculous.
When I put on a wetsuit to go surfing, I don't just say, Gina, take a picture of me real quick, because you start to show things while you're in something that tight. So I don't think he did that for necessarily a photo op. And if he did, John Kerry,
you're a braver man than we are.
Yeah, that too. But he's obviously exercising a lot, because who just pulls out their bike for 5 minutes and goes back inside? He's not doing that. So, it's just, it's another thing that Rush Limbaugh's obviously, kind of pointing the finger and kind of stirring up the pot, et cetera. There's no doubt. I don't want to kind of say this too, though. It's, what's going on in the Middle East is very intense, right? And which is kind of it's a very interesting time. And obviously, I'm sure he's focused, right? Regardless, left, right, whatever, the person, the Secretary of State, is going to be focused on it. But as I'm not comparing my job or your job or anybody's to it. But by getting a breath of fresh air,
of course,
and you're working out your body, can only clear your mind to make you make better decisions.
Yeah, I was going to say that a lot of people after a stressful day, or if they're going through a lot of stress, do turn to exercise. And I suppose Jake and I should make a disclaimer that this is not a political conversation at all.
We can make it that way if you want.
John Kerry is merely just the person we're referencing. It's not about his political affiliation or anything like that. It's more about the fact that somebody that age is being criticized for exercising, and at 71 years old, if he is still able to be exercising like that, then good for him.
Yeah, it was funny. I was telling my parents, they were asking like, "Oh, what are you guys going to talk about tomorrow, et cetera?" And I told them the first thing was like Rush Limbaugh and John Kerry, like, "Oh my God, don't do that. You don't want to bring politics." I was like, "It's it's current events."
Last week we brought religion and meditation into it. We can do whatever we want.
Yeah, we could do whatever we want. I just think it's important to see both sides, and but pointing your finger at somebody who's 71, and telling them they can't exercise. I kind of have a funny story. My Gina's uncle Bill was in town, last week I think, and I felt really dumb about this. So I take him we had to go to Whole Foods. We were actually going to grill out and get some things. So go to Whole Foods. And as we pull in, he goes, "Oh, look at those. There's carts everywhere." And I was like, "Yeah." And so Uncle Bill just turned 75, by the way. There's carts everywhere. And so I was like, "Yeah, that's what happens in the, a grocery store
like
parking
the
lot."
shopping.
Yeah, in the parking lot. I was like,
okay.
"Yeah, that's what happens." So we close the door, and I just hear like the noise of like a shopping cart coming behind me. I look back, and it's Uncle Bill. And he's pushing the shopping cart. And we were parked pretty, a couple hundred feet away. And I was like, okay. And he was like, so as he's walking towards, he's like, "Can you understand I don't understand how lazy people are that they can just leave these carts out here in the parking lot. It is just pure laziness. Walk it back." And so I was thinking to myself, I was like, "Yeah, Uncle Bill, that's what they should be doing." I've done that.
You've left it?
I've left it. And it made me think. I was like, you know what? Here you are.
I am so lazy.
You're 75 and you're finding a way just to be active just by going to the grocery store.
Awesome.
He just taught me a lesson too. And so since then, so this was like, a week and a half, 2 weeks ago. Now I don't, pop it on the curb. I walk it back.
Good.
Or I just strap them all in my arms and just kind of walk like, the 4 or 5 bags back. But it was something that I just, Uncle Bill's 75. He gets up and walks a mile every single day.
That's amazing.
In pretty good health. And so just to kind of go along with that, he's 75. He's not 71, right? And so, John Kerry trying to, windsurf and do all these different things, it's amazing. And and he's still a very active. I'm talking about John Kerry now. Obviously, being Secretary of State, he's not retired. It helps your brain. It helps your brain. It just calms you, relaxes you. I know when I don't work out or whatever that day, I just kind of a little bit more uptight and just relaxes you. So it's just I don't think it's fair to bring in the age of it. I was actually looking at some other pictures of Rush Limbaugh. Rush Limbaugh is a big golfer, right? And a lot of presidents like to golf. I actually don't golf. But there's not much exercise that goes into golfing. Now, if you're walking the course, etc., sure, there's something coming from it. But if you're smoking a cigar and drinking a beer,
that's why they all get
whatever,
wasted on the golf
right, exactly.
course.
And so actually, my bigger problem with that is because I know that a lot of people, excuse me, give the presidents a hard time for going golfing and such. They should be doing more what John Kerry's doing, going out on a bike, going for a run, and pointing the finger at somebody because it's they're too old, I think is
if you want to do something, you're not too old or too young to do that at all.
Yeah, and that's what this site is all about.
Exactly. You can do whatever you want.
Do whatever you want.
That's right. All right. Well, ending that, moving on to another sort of current event style story. You have something to talk about. I don't even know what the subject is.
What is it?
Shopping cart, lazy uncle. Oh, that was it.
Yes.
Oh my God. Now I feel like the idiot.
Yeah. So in our show notes that what we do every single day, I'm going through these and
it's written cryptically. Oh,
shopping
I
cart,
see.
Lazy Uncle Bill.
He's not lazy though.
No, he's
You're
not.
lazy.
But he was calling the people that left the shopping carts in the park.
All right. Well, then that was my fault.
I'm not even going to edit that out.
No,
I'm just going to leave that in there.
Now I'm so embarrassed. If you guys could see me right now, I'm like the whitest person ever, and I'm turning so red.
Oh my gosh. I will say I have a tattoo.
I know. Okay, I want to ask you about the tattoo.
It's actually not a real tattoo. It's not a real tattoo. So here's what
It's
actually
cute,
here's what actually
actually.
happens when Megan comes to the house, 'cause we shoot these at my house. She says a bunch of things, and I always tell her, hold it. Don't even ask anything. We're gonna
He
save
won't
this for the
even let me
podcast."
ask him how he is or what's going on. He just makes me sit out and he's like, I'll get you a coffee. Just sit down. I don't want to talk about anything until we hit record.
Right. And so she was like, "Oh my God, you got a tattoo!" And I did not. It's 3 turtles. So every week or maybe even twice a week, we take Noah to the Loggerhead Marine Center.
Yeah.
So that's actually marine.org is actually the website if you want to go to. And it's really cool because what they actually do is they rehabilitate injured sea turtles up and down the East Coast. And so if they've swallowed a hook, if they've been bit by a shark, and they're kind of like
hurt by a boat.
yeah,
or
something like that, they'll bring them into that center and they rehab them. And the cool thing is they actually rehab them in open tanks. So kids, everybody can come by and see it. So it's one of the we go there literally 2 or 3 times.
That's
a
so
week.
nice.
It's so cool. And so when we go there, there's also a gift shop, and kids love turtles.
And you have to exit through it.
You have to exit through it. Kids love turtles. Kids love fish in there, and they love the gift shops. And so one of the things she likes to get, which is cool because there's like a lot of expensive stuff in there. There's like turtle, like glass tables and stuff like that. They're these tattoos. They're non-toxic tattoos. They're actually natural tattoos, and she loves them. And they're $1 a piece. And so if I can only spend $1, or maybe
She's a
I
good
might
girl.
get 2 or 3, because it's like $2 or $3. And so she gets tattoos. And this one's actually it's 3 turtles on my wrist, and it's kind of Rasta. It's kind of
It's
like
really
red,
cool,
It's
actually.
red, green, and yellow. And so she put it on me. I think it was like yesterday, and I'm not even kidding. I was like walking around going about my thing. I was like, I kind of like that. I have no tattoos at all, and I've thought about it a couple times, and I was like, I kind of dig that.
It's actually really cool.
And so I was telling Gina, I really like it. Now I'm not one to like research things or spend a lot of time figuring things out. I was like, Gina, I just might go to a tattoo parlor and say, can you just trace that?
Can you just fill this in?
And I was like, I know that other people will have fake tattoos that look just like it, but I will absolutely keep it. So I like it. I might just be a big wuss and just apply it every 3 days instead of going to get a real one. But it's really cool. And they all of the when you buy the tattoos, all the stuff goes actually to the Loggerhead Marine Center, and so we're giving some back there.
That's
too.
cool. Well, the reason I thought it was real is because one of my best friends does have a sea turtle tattoo.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she has an actual one like on kind of near her hip, and she got it a number of years ago.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so
I
I
was
thought
telling
that's
Gina
cool.
that I if I was going to get one, she's like, well, don't get it on your wrist so everybody can see. I was like, where do you want me to get it? On the pelvis?
How about in your lower back?
Yeah, my lower back. Do you have any tattoos?
No, I
Do
don't
you ever
have
think
any.
about getting a tattoo?
Yeah, I think about it. My sister's got a lot of tattoos.
What do you mean like a lot? Like a
Like
sleeve,
9
like a
or
face
11.
tattoo?
She has like between I think 9 and 11 tattoos.
Oh my God.
They're all like sort of like your little sea turtle, just sort of decorations, kind of all over her arms in various places, different little things.
Interesting. I have just kind of a quick. It's a piercing story, not a tattoo.
Got your belly button pierced?
Pierces. No.
You had your tongue pierced or your eyebrow pierced, didn't you?
I was very close. I actually had both my ears pierced.
Okay.
And they can still fit.
Was this when you had long hair?
Yeah, I had long blonde hair. But it was one night, and I was hanging out. I was in college, and I was hanging out with some of our friends who were golfers. And you want to talk? I mean, they could party, but they were just kind of like there's random dudes always wearing like polo shirts and khakis, but could
Tucked in with a
yeah,
belt.
but could turn it up. And so we were hanging out one night, and they decided. And he was like, I really want to. He's like, the one guy was a guy. He's like, I want to really get my tongue pierced. And I was like, here's the deal. If you go get your tongue pierced, I'll go get my lip pierced. He's like, the guy down our hall can do it. So we walked over to the hall. We walked down the hall, and this guy, his name was Pablo.
Oh, he sounds safe. Sounds legit.
Knocked on Pablo's door, and it was not anything that I was expecting from a gentleman named Pablo. And he opened the door, and Pablo actually turned out to be a stand-up guy, and you'll see in a second. And so we were like, oh my God, we want to get our lip, we want to get our lip pierced and our tongue pierced. We want to do this. And he's like, have you guys been drinking? And I was like, no, maybe. And so he's like, I'm not piercing your lip or your tongue tonight.
Good.
And so then we kind of go back. And we're like, oh, well, whatever. And we wake up the next morning. It's like, thank God I didn't get my lip pierced or my tongue pierced.
Oh, my God.
So, ears were it. When I got my ears pierced, my mom didn't talk to me for, I think it was like 2 weeks. I was like 16 or 17.
Really?
Yeah, she hated it.
My mom took me to get my belly button pierced when I was younger.
Really?
Yeah, because I had to have parent consent.
It's not
I had
pierced
the
anymore.
cool
Did you take it
mom.
out?
Yeah, I took it out about 5 years ago.
Oh. Because that's when you're starting to think about getting pregnant, right?
Yeah, right. That was when I was still trying to not get pregnant. I'm still not trying.
Gina actually took hers out when we had decided that we wanted to get pregnant and stuff like that. And I guess you can't put it back in.
No, you can't. I mean, the hole closes up. But I have a little she probably has one too. You have like a little dot scar. Yeah. It's so funny now to see girls or my friends, all of us like at our age and older. Yeah. Like we all have this little, almost like a little tattoo. It's like a little dot above your belly button.
So we want to get into our next segment after we get through our piercings.
Which I obviously have no idea what the heck it is because I'm not reading the rundown. The show notes
are right in front of you. Can't you hear them? They're right here. The one thing that we actually want to talk about now is avocados. It's extremely popular on our site. Anytime we talk about avocados, avocado oil, etc.
And we love them too. I had one for breakfast.
Yes, avocados are delicious. And it's funny because you actually told me when we first started when we first met, we were talking about avocados. And you're like, oh my God, I can only eat half an avocado in the morning. I was like, eat the whole thing. She's like, and you said, isn't it so full of fat? And I was like, it's the good fat. Get it, eat it up.
This was back in the day, ladies and gentlemen, before I was as wise in the alt health world as I am now. But what we're going to do is we're going to call Susan. Yeah. She is the head content.
Well, before we get to Susan, as I'm thinking about it, I think it's a perfect time to throw in the free hat reference. What do you think?
Yeah.
You want to do it now?
Okay.
Okay.
Now we're veering off the course of notes.
No, but it's fine. It's fine because we'll go right back into Susan. So everybody here, if you want your free hat,
listen up.
It's one of these. It's a really cool hat. It feels good on your head.
It's awesome and it's free, people. You don't have to do
free.
anything.
You can use this in place of sunblock.
Yeah, it's awesome.
I can legally say that.
Yeah, it covers your whole face. I'm usually really sensitive about getting my face.
It's not it's not a burqa.
No.
But
shadow wise,
it's a hat.
It's a very good hat.
I love him. All right, so here's how you have to do it. It's so easy. Email me, Jake at thealternativedaily.com. So it's JAKE at thealternativedaily.com. Subject line, and here's your code that you have to use, free hat. That's all you have to do. Send me an email, and then we'll correspond. I'll get your information. You have to send me anything. Just say free hat if you want to say hi, if you want to say good going, if you want to say you guys are doing terrible, I never hear you again, but I want a free hat. I'll still send you one.
Yeah.
So Jake at thealternativedaily.com with the subject line of free hat, and we'll send you a free hat. We only have 50 of these things.
So not all at once, people.
Not all at once. And don't tell your friends just to email me and just kind of sell me out and stuff like that. But yeah, free hat. So Jake at thealternativedaily.com, subject line, free hat. Yeah, we're going to give them away. They're really cool.
They really are awesome. We're not just saying that. The hat is really, really awesome. We got them all when we went on our retreat.
We did. I've gotten so many compliments just on the hat itself.
I get a lot of compliments when I wear it
Not on the retreat. Like, everybody's like, oh, the retreat was fine. We had a good time. But the hat was, it was legit. So many people even say, try to find a hat that fits well.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not a flat brimmed hat, everybody. I don't like the flat brimmed hat. It's got, it's got some curve to it. You can make it curved. You can make it flat. You can do whatever you want.
This is a life lesson. If you don't know what kind of hat you should wear, just trust your bald friend.
That's
chances are he knows.
I know. I have a good storage of hats on what to wear. All right. So
should we go back to now we're going to call Susan and we're going to break down our little scientific part. We're going to talk about avocados.
Yes. So we're actually going to prank call Susan. You're going to hear the ringing and everything. I wonder. I could probably turn it down until she answers, but we'll just go for it.
Yeah,
we're going for it.
This is exciting. I feel like we're a radio host.
Yeah,
we're gonna tell her she's like,
"Hey, Susan, this is WQZ.
You've won a Hyundai Elantra and a trip to Mexico."
Hello,
Susan.
Jake.
This is Jake and Megan from WQZ.
Hi, Susan. If you can answer this next question correctly in 30 seconds, we're gonna send you to the Riviera Maya.
I'm excited.
All right,
we can tell.
All right, so here's the question: is
what is the best fruit you could eat all day, every day?
That would be an avocado, Megan.
Ding, 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 ding.
Yes, we're sending you to Mexico.
Congratulations.
Hey, Susan, how's it going?
Thank you. It's good. How are you?
Good. We are actually live in the middle of the podcast. Do you want to say hi to everybody?
Hello, everybody.
Perfect.
Hi, Susan.
Yeah, they're all clapping.
Yeah.
Woo! So we actually, as we we kind of discussed with you earlier, we actually want to talk about, I guess, pretty much all of our favorite fruit, which is avocado, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So obviously we've written a lot about avocados on the website, and we're actually just kind of talking about, Megan just had one this morning. Before we kind of get into the benefits of them, Susan actually lives out in New Mexico. And this is a completely ignorant question, but do they can you grow avocados out there in New Mexico, or is it pretty much majority of them are in California?
Yeah, I think we get most of ours here from California or Mexico.
Yeah.
So not too far away. They don't have much travel time.
Yeah, you're pretty close.
Now because we actually have Florida avocados too.
Those are disgusting, by the way.
They're big. They're really big.
Slimy.
They're slimy. And actually, we did an article about it, and Susan probably knows a little bit more about it. There's a ton of water content in it, so it's not that it's terrible for you, but it's not as dense as, let's say, your the ones that come from California or the Mexican ones.
Haas.
Yeah, the Haas.
Yes.
Haas.
Yes. So Susan, what are some ways that you actually like to use avocados?
So, like, my favorite way is in a smoothie. Because I find that, like any smoothie, it doesn't matter. I always scoop either like a half or even a whole one and put it in any kind of smoothie because it makes it thicker.
Yep.
So it gives it like
a silky, silky.
It's like creamier.
Thicker. Yeah, it's really cool.
Mhm. Yeah. So smoothies the best. I also like to make a lot of dips, out of it, garlic, some chopped tomatoes, and just blend it all up. So that's awesome with veggies. Chop it up in a salad. You can make like a really cool mousse with it. And that's cool too. The Vitamix.
Wait, did you say
awesome.
mousse?
I have heard about
mousse?
this before. You could mix it with like cacao powder and make like chocolate mousse.
Oh, I was actually thinking mousse for the hair. But no.
Well, you can do that
Says
too.
the bald guy.
Yeah. Somebody informed me, I think it was Jimmy, informed me that nobody uses mousse anymore. And I was like, I wouldn't know that. So
Megan would know that.
Yes,
I
Megan
am
uses
laughing.
mousse in her hair.
No, I don't use mousse. I use
Do
serum.
people still use mousse?
I mean, I don't think so. Maybe out
I
there.
don't think so.
No, it's funny. We'll get more into the avocados in a second. Megan, she's kind of crazy about what she does with her hair. Susan, what do you do with your hair? We've talked about this a bunch of times. What do you do with, because Susan's got these long flowing locks that are absolutely beautiful.
Yeah.
And she uses zero product. I don't think you use any type of shampoo or anything, right?
No, not at all.
You don't use shampoo on that hair? Wow, you have such nice hair.
No, I mean, I make my own sometimes, and the big thing for me is like letting it go. Like out here, of course, I don't have to look good like you guys, but leave it. Like I let it go for like 4 or 5 days before I even do anything with it, and then it's either just like some baking soda, and then a vinegar rinse or lemon juice, or once a week like wrap it in coconut oil and then just let it sit and then rinse it out.
That's amazing.
But I kind of have the same philosophy with my hair that I do with my body, right? Whatever I can't eat, I'm not putting on my head.
Because your skin is the biggest organ and the largest organ on your body.
Yeah, and of course it would get absorbed right into you.
The funny thing is, when you think about what Susan just said, a lot of people might be thinking, "Oh my God, does she smell earthy?" She doesn't.
No,
she absolutely does not
and
smell
you're very
earthy.
clean, very pretty.
clean. Yeah. Now,
I'm glad I smell okay.
Yeah, you smell wonderful. So can Susan and Megan, actually let's lead Megan with this. Give me a rundown of some of the benefits of avocados, because obviously we're talking about one of our favorite fruits on the website, and along with that actually comes some avocado oil too. So we're gonna kind of blend both benefits of avocados, avocado oils into this. And so, but before I get into that, Susan, can you tell me what is it about avocados that just makes them obviously so damn good, but so damn healthy for us?
So like the big thing, which is really funny, is that it's the very thing that scares people, from things like avocados and coconut oil that makes them such a superstar. So this is like, some people are still scared of this, but they are like super fat.
Yes.
Right? So like almost 77% of this little fruit is made from fat. But it's a healthy fat. It's an oleic acid, which is super healthy. It's monosaturated, like exactly what you find in olive oil.
Yeah.
So it's huge for like things like inflammation, and studies are showing that it's good for reducing genes linked to cancer. And so the first and most important thing people need to understand is that they see that it's got a huge fat content, but it's awesome fat, and it's super good for you. And that also makes it a good cooking oil too, because it resists the heat-induced oxidation. So my first point is that it's awesome fat.
Yes, absolutely. And it's funny, right before we called you were talking about that, because Megan last year was telling me she would only eat like a half an avocado in the morning. And I was like, what are you doing? What are you doing with the other half? And she was like, well, maybe save it for later or whatever. I was like, eat the whole damn thing. Eat it. And she's like, well, it's so fatty. And I was like, it's good fat. It's really good fat.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, now I know.
Right. Yeah. We need fat. Good fat.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, and you talked a little bit about the actual avocado oil. We actually sell some avocado oil on the website. It's Ava Jane's avocado oil. And I've actually started using it. And the benefit of avocado oil is that it has a high smoke point, right? So, we don't actually cook with olive oil anymore. And I hope a lot of people aren't cooking with olive oil. You're drizzling that. Susan gave me the best advice, which is, drizzle drizzle olive oil and cook with coconut or avocado oil. And so now that's what we cook, eggs in. If I'm doing anything in terms of like sautéing, it's either the grass-fed butter and avocado oil. What is it? In addition to the the high smoke point, what other benefits are we seeing from specifically avocado oil itself?
So the big thing about avocado oil is it's so super concentrated, right? And it has all of these vitamins and minerals in it that are like important for blasting free radicals, reducing aging, again, reducing inflammation, and providing like a really nutrient-rich source of oil that's going to help. If you use it to like saute vegetables, for instance, it's going to help your body absorb the fat-soluble nutrients that are in those vegetables. So it helps transport the nutrients that we are eating in other foods. So it's just, and it makes stuff taste. I mean, do you guys use it?
I use it. I use it for roasting vegetables, but I also use it for making salad dressings too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
One of my favorite things to do is use it in salad dressing. It's so good. And it's interesting because you gave me a bottle of the stuff that you guys sell, Jake. Yeah. And it's really nice. And you don't need a lot of it because it is a little bit more expensive. You don't need it a lot. Like we always talk about coconut oil. Oh, we use it on everything. We use it all over our bodies. I use avocado oil when I want to roast something in the oven that the temperature is going to be really, really high because as we know with coconut oil, you don't want to roast something with coconut oil at like 500 degrees in your oven. But avocado oil, if I'm using a high heat, I always use it for my vegetables, and it's really good with as a salad dressing. I'll mix fresh squeezed organic oranges, like I'll get some juice from those. I'll mix that with a little bit of local honey, some raw honey, and avocado oil. Yeah, it's good. And then any kind of herbs that I have on hand, like thyme is really nice, rosemary. And it just makes a very simple, easy salad dressing because I'm trying to eat more salads just in general. And then, the worst thing you can do for yourself is get a healthy salad, right? And then just pour like creamy ranch all over it. I mean, that's the fun way to eat a salad.
Dressing.
It's a fun way to eat a salad, but it's the wrong way to eat a salad. So
it's funny. Gina actually, she wanted, we were doing a big salad last week and she was like, because I just put, olive oil or avocado oil and, some, red wine vinegar or whatever. And she was like, I want to get something different. So she brought up, it was like the Winn-Dixie version of French dressing, and I was like, I don't even have to look at the labels, but I did, because it's like that bright orange. And like the first, it was like soybean oil, high fructose corn syrup, and like sugar, and it was like, when do you actually what's the French part of this? Even if it would have said ketchup and mayo, I'd be like, okay, that's at least it's better than I thought.
At least I can pronounce it.
I mean, it was like fluorescent orange, and I was like, come on, we're not doing this one. So
that's funny. That I know that exact kind of dressing, and that has always never looked appetizing to me.
It's like bright orange.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't do that. If it's not growing in nature, try not to do that, ladies and gentlemen.
And the French don't eat French dressing, by the way.
No, of course. Well, have you ever heard? They have that. There's a book out called like The French Diet or Eat Like the French Do, and it's amazing how.
And they don't do French fries either.
No, they don't do French fries. They don't eat all the processed foods we do. But going back to avocados for a moment, I like them. I mean, I eat an avocado every single morning with my breakfast. I have it on like a sprouted grain English muffin. I'll add a little bit of nutritional yeast to that or some pink sea salt to make it like a little bit cheesy-ish. And it's funny because ever since I started having an avocado in the morning or half an avocado and then I'll eat half, for a snack after I work out, I wake up and I crave that.
Yeah.
Now, it's like the breakfast that I want.
So good.
I was never a big breakfast person my whole life. I never, ever ate breakfast. And then a couple of years ago I started, and then about a year and a half ago I started eating avocado a lot. And the funny thing is, avocado toast is, for lack of a better word, blowing up, if you will. Like Bon Appetit magazine did a feature on it. There's a cookbook about it. Whenever I post photos of my avocado toast on our Instagram account, and I'll use the hashtag, we get tons and tons of likes. There are social media accounts devoted entirely to all the creative things that you can do with avocado on bread or English muffins.
That's great.
It's so cool, though. Yeah. People mix it with strawberries. They'll put like avocado toast. So they'll put avocado on a piece of whole grain toast and put some strawberries on it.
Wow.
Yeah, you can add like some cheese if you want it to go like a savory way.
I get the I was gonna say I get the strawberry and avocado, but avocado and cheese. But I'm a huge huge taco guy,
exactly.
so it's just like that. Okay, interesting.
Yeah, it's funny. And isn't it amazing now? It's almost like a joke. You know, I've seen T-shirts made because everybody loves avocados now and everybody loves guacamole. And I actually saw a T-shirt that somebody was wearing that said, "I know the guac is extra." Because if you ever go to like a place,
take it to guacamole. It's extra.
It's gonna be extra. And it's like I know. I went through a phase when I was younger where every time I would see avocado, like if it was available on a sandwich or available in a salad, I was like, I have to get that. I have to get that.
Well, for the longest time, I hated it. Like,
really?
Being like, in high school and even younger than that, or even in college, it was kind of like, ooh, what is that green stuff? I don't want that. It's got to be spicy, isn't it? And then, I actually tried it for the first time. Now, I will tell you, like getting it like packaged and stuff is, I forget. I don't know what the other one's, the packaged one that's come. It's okay. I mean, it's an organic one that comes. The best is when you make it yourself, or they make it tableside if you're at a restaurant, right?
Oh yeah.
But I have this awesome recipe, and it's kind of cool because it's kind of how I just do recipes. You take 4 or 5 Hass avocados.
Mm-hmm.
You take and you dice, and you kind of dice that. I don't know if you know how to dice an avocado, but you kind of just split it in half. A couple cuts the other way, and then scoop it out. Red onion. What else do I use? Like a little bit of jalapenos. I like hot, but my wife and family don't. And then what else do you use? Just kind of, tomatoes, cilantro, fresh cilantro, and you garlic, salt, and lime juice. And just kind of just stir it all up.
Yeah.
And let it sit for like an hour, and it's unbelievable.
That sounds really good.
Yeah. So sorry to hijack that, but what are the other benefits of avocados and avocado oil?
So we need to talk a little bit about potassium because that's important.
Avocados.
It's got it's huge. It's got
2 times the amount of potassium
than banana, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, and of course, everybody knows that we don't get nearly enough of that, and it's super important for regulating blood pressure.
I actually, sorry for interrupting. I was getting in my sleep a couple of years ago. I was getting those. Have you guys ever had where you wake up in the middle of the night and you have that crazy cramp in your calf?
Yes.
It's terrible.
Yeah. Yes.
I went through a phase where I was getting those all the time while I was sleeping, and I'd wake up and it's awful if you've ever had it before. It's literally like a nightmare. And except it's real because you wake up and you're in pain. And I personally don't really love bananas. I like the taste of a banana, but I don't really like the texture, which is kind of weird because I love avocados so much. And I went to a doctor and they told me that I was lacking potassium, and that's why you get those kind of cramps if you're dehydrated or if you're lacking potassium. And he told me to eat bananas, and I said, well, I don't like bananas. And that's actually how I started eating a lot of avocado, was because he told me that avocados, people don't realize, actually have a lot more potassium than bananas.
Wow. Mm-hmm. I remember when I was younger and I would have those cramps and stuff, I would actually use rubbing alcohol, and that would help.
Really?
It doesn't obviously fix the problem, which was obviously the potassium, but I actually rubbing alcohol on my legs. That's my quick story on that. Anyways,
I was just drinking alcohol too.
Yeah. So obviously a very, very good source of potassium. When I eat these in the morning, I don't kind of go through that whole putting on toast and creating this kind of beautiful thing that Megan creates every morning, to put on Instagram.
Yeah.
All I do is I literally just half it, and then I'm a salty guy. I don't like sweets, so I'm a salty type of dude. So I just sprinkle some.
You are very salty.
I'm very salty. I sprinkle some sea salt on there. I just literally scoop it out with a spoon and eat it that way. It's quick when you have to take a screaming 3-year-old to school. That helps, and so it's absolutely delicious. Now, Susan, out there, I wouldn't say out there on the ranch, but out there where you guys are, and because as I said, Susan lives in New Mexico, and Susan is somebody who truly lives the alternative health lifestyle, and she also lives, you could say, quasi off the grid, because here she is on her phone talking to us. What are ways? What other ways that And Susan lives with her 3 wonderful girls. What are some ways that you guys actually use avocado, in your recipes and throughout the week?
So we do a lot with it too, even on rice. We like beans, Jake. I like beans.
Oh yes, you're a big bean person.
It's a staple in our house. So a really good dish is to do some jasmine rice or wild rice, and then a pot of beans, and then to cool everything off, cut up an avocado and just top it all off with an avocado and some salsa. So I use it a lot as kind of a condiment.
Yep.
So for, that's nice. And it's pretty, too. Megan, that it's pretty.
Mm-hmm.
It's got a nice color, and it flows well with other foods. You want to make a nice presentation. So if we've got people coming over, we like to chop it up and put it on top of, you can put it on top of soup. You can blend it in with the soup. So it blends in really well with the potato soup. So in the colder months, we like to actually blend the potatoes and blend the avocado with it, and then it makes it, again, you have that really silky, creamy texture. So we use it in the kitchen a lot, but we use it a lot, too, for our skin and our hair, and not just the oil, but making a mask with it to put on our face because, of course, out here in the high desert, it's like super dry, like so dry. Like it's just the first couple of days I was out here, I just lost all the moisture in my skin. And I was like, what am I going to do? So I just started using coconut oil and avocado oil and feeding my skin and hair with all these great foods that had so much moisture and antioxidants. And
that's why
so
you
anyway,
always smell so good.
fun.
That's why you always smell so good, because you just smell like a kitchen pantry.
It smells like food. She smells like food.
I know. She
But
really
anyway,
thought it
it's
was so
good.
weird when I licked her when I met her, and I just wanted.
That's so
There's
funny.
that freak from New Mexico. So
Yes.
anyway, no, it's good in the kitchen and good in the in the bathroom too. So we buy we usually buy like 10 or 12 a week.
Oh wow, that's awesome. That's awesome. And
We go through a lot.
and it's and the one thing that I kind of finish this with is that, especially with the oils versus the actual foods themselves, because it's a question we get. Can I just eat the oils as opposed to the foods? Susan, can you answer that one? My take on that is the oils are really good because they're super concentrated, but you just can't wake up in the morning and drink a cup of avocado oil when you wake up, even though it's it's pretty super potent. Can you speak to whether there's a healthy balance or what you're supposed to do when the oil versus the actual food itself?
With the avocado oil, it's kind of the same thing as with the coconut oil. Jake, remember that time you called me and said I just ate a whole spoon of coconut oil?
Yeah, I did. I woke up in the morning and this is when I was
Didn't
first
you get sick?
I was kind of first getting into this stuff, and it's
Mm-hmm.
and I love coconuts and everything, and so and this was like a couple of years ago. So I got up and I was like, I'm just gonna just eat coconut oil all day, and I had it before I had anything in my stomach, and I didn't. I called Susan. I was like, I just don't feel good.
No.
So if you could,
So
speak to that.
It's the same thing as that. It's the same thing with the coconut oil. So the nice thing about the avocados is that they contain a fair amount of fiber and then all of the other vitamins and nutrients that are in it. So that helps your body sort of regulate the absorption of the oil in the fruit and helps regulate blood sugar spikes. And so when we extract anything from a food, right, we're extracting it as super concentrated, like you said, and then therefore it doesn't have all of the elements that it had in its fruit form to help regulate it the way it acts in our body. So we want to be careful that we don't do, like you said, a big glass of avocado oil on an empty stomach.
Yeah.
And so I always tell people, cook with the oil, put the oil on your skin, put it in your hair, use it in cooking, drizzle it like you would in olive oil, but to gulp it is probably not the best idea.
Yeah, and
in
you could
terms
probably
of yeah.
Can you oil pull with that one? We talk about using coconut oil, and a lot of people use whether it's sesame oil. Can you oil pull with avocado oil?
Sure. The taste is a little different. It's a little more buttery.
And it's green, so you're gonna have like green teeth. It'll look kind of cool,
It's
I guess.
green. You would, but always do this. The food is the best.
Yeah.
Take it from the fruit is the best. Always the best because you have it in its whole entirety and everything that's meant to go along with it to help you maximize its benefits. But the oil is obviously super great for any number of things.
Yeah, and so the last question I want to ask you, since you're the the oil expert now, is so for coconut oil, the one question I got, which was the best question ever, can you use avocado oil for personal lubricant?
Absolutely.
You can. Oh,
Wow.
she was really committed to that. She's 100% yes.
No hesitation. I mean, again, it's that same philosophy.
Good for you.
That same premise that anything you're going to put in your body is okay to put on your body.
Okay.
In terms of if I'm going to eat it. Now, I'm not talking about, some people's definition of what's good for their body, but I'm saying a whole food. So it's a whole food, and it's, of course, you want to, maybe there are some people who have, very small percentage of people who have avocado allergy. It's not very popular, but you may want to test it.
Yeah.
Test
So
it
instead of the Astroglide, and then if your wife doesn't
Sure.
like the tropical smell or flavor of coconut oil, avocado oil. Interesting.
Jake's trying to wrap this podcast up real quick now.
That's it.
But it's so funny. She was so quick to say yes. There was no thought about it. Susan like absolutely 100%. Wow, cool, awesome.
No problem.
So Susan, here's what we're gonna do. We're actually gonna move on to our third segment. You're more than welcome to stick around and sit on the couch and chime in if you want, or if you need to go. You tell me.
I'm good. You guys do it so well. I'm going to just let you take it.
Awesome. We're going to keep putting you on the spot with all these kind of uncomfortable questions.
Yeah. I'm good.
Awesome, Susan. Well, thank you so much for joining us. And
thanks, Susan.
We'll speak to you later.
All right. We'll talk to you later, guys.
Bye.
Bye. Susan's awesome.
Yeah, that was really fun.
Yeah, she's Susan. Like I said, she's one of those people that truly lives the game, if you want to say.
Yeah, she's amazing.
Yeah, she stays true to the game for that one.
She gives us legitimacy.
She does. So the one thing actually, I've been actually reading a book, and this is how I'm doing my segue. So I've actually been reading a really cool book, and it's actually called Rise of Superman. And it's funny because it's actually not about comic books and stuff like that. And we were talking a little bit about about this topic before, and you actually had no clue what this was, which is kind of cool. And when I was telling Megan what it was all about, she was kind of like, "What is it?" And I was like, "I can't tell you. We got to save it for the podcast."
Yeah, I have no idea still.
So the book is called Rise of Superman. It's by a gentleman by the name of Stephen Kotler. I'm a little bit in it. Like I'm not an expert on this at all, but it's a really kind of cool thing because you said you're definitely interested in brain topics, which we'll cover in another podcast. But actually, what it's all about is flow states, and that's kind of a cool phrase. Flow. What's the flow all about, and stuff like that. And so your question was, what is a flow? What do you mean?
I picture like we're talking about the 50 states and like there's a flow in it. That's what I didn't understand.
No, the flow state is actually the best way to describe it is when you're actually doing something and nothing else matters in the world except you doing that one thing, and it's the flow on, and that's called flow. And so let's say, for example, the best description of this is it's always like, from a sports level. So, LeBron James, when he's like, killing it on the basketball court, not thinking about a thing, he's just kind of going with it, right? Mm-hmm. And not to say that, I can go out in the court and do the exact same thing, but it's kind of following where you feel the most comfortable in the universe to actually get some things done, and where there's really kind of like not a lot of external thought. It's just accomplishing that task. And it's funny, I was reading the book, and a couple of days later, I was actually kind of like making this salsa with avocados and everything. And it was so funny because I was sitting there just chopping onions, getting the beans out and rinsing them, doing a whole bunch of things. And I looked up, and it was like an hour later. I'm like, oh my God, what just happened? And I was like, that was a flow state. And so it was just kind of, it's a cool topic for me to bring up because, the more that people can do that, I think that's when the flow state is when the most of your creativity comes out. And so the gentleman, Stephen Kotler, when he's talking about Rise of Superman, he's actually talking a lot about, extreme athletes. And there's this one story about where you can literally, when you're in your flow state, like, pain and all these other things kind of just go away. He's a skateboarder by the name of Danny Way. And so Danny Way does kind of like this, I forget what it's actually called, but where he goes on this super ramp or whatever. And he was going to actually ramp over the Great Wall of China. Wow. And so he goes out, and it's going to be all televised and everything. And the next day, he's in China getting ready for it. And so it's kind of like a rickety platform they put up. I mean, it's like a 300-foot drop, and then just skies over it on a skateboard. And so he goes out the night before, nobody around. Goes out the night before, goes up, walks up, nobody around. He's like, you know what? I just got to do it. Drops in, 300-foot drop, skies it, completely misses. Oh. Breaks his leg, and is just completely just like in pain or whatever. And so everybody's like, "Oh, we got to cancel whatever." And actually comes back, and the next day, and he was like, "We got to move the ramp." Like, what are you talking about? He was like, "I did." They're like, you broke your leg. He's like, "We're doing this." He's like, "We just got to do it." And so what he ended up doing was he walked back up, broken leg or broken ankle, one of those, and they actually nailed it. And then what did he do? He did it like 3 more times and did like, a flip or whatever it was, and just completely nailed it. He was in his flow. He was like, this is what I'm doing. This is just, I'm just not so, you could say throwing caution to the wind. It's just like no fear of death. Nothing exists in that moment except me hitting this ramp and going for it. The pain was obviously there, but it actually did it. Now, some people say that's dumb, blah, 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 but that's what he does for a living. And it was just, I was in there chopping onions, and I don't want to say I was doing the exact same thing as Danny Way did, but I just wanted to see from your standpoint, when you, because this is a new concept to you, now that you kind of know what to call it, for you, when are you in those flow states?
I think when I'm in my flow states or when I'm doing the things that I love the most, and 2 of my favorite things to do are to exercise, and then alternatively from that, I also love cooking. Yeah. And so those are both things that I do that time does go really, really fast, especially when I cook. You know, some people find the idea of cooking very, very stressful or very daunting. And for me, I've always loved it. Even if I don't make something that's like restaurant quality, I love, you know, coming up with new recipes and thinking of different things that I'm going to cook. Or, you know, I'm always like joking with my boyfriend, like I'll just write a shopping list out and then the whole week I just pretend I'm like on a Top Chef challenge, you know, like I'm going to cook this with this with this. And so those are times where I'm just totally in the zone. And I have been known to spend quite a bit of time in a night, you know, spending a lot of time or over an hour, you know, cooking a simple dish, not because I move so slow, but because I love to take my time and because the time goes by so fast. Yeah. And then also with exercise too, I find that I think maybe part of this is, you know, the actual physical effects of exercise with giving me a lot of endorphins and making me feel really good. Is like when I'm in the middle of something, I'm pushing myself really, really hard. I'm following a new workout program now that I found online, and it's really challenging, and it's been quite a struggle just with sort of, I don't want to cheat the plan, you know, because I'm just cheating myself. So I'm going with it. I'm doing every exercise, every rep, even things that I would never normally do. And it's intense. And for me, it's just like yesterday, you're going to think this is crazy, but yesterday I was at the gym for like 2 hours. I know.
Oh, you don't have kids, do you?
No, I don't have anything. I have a boyfriend and 2 cats, and a very great job. So no, I don't. Right. So I was at the gym yesterday from like 10:30 to 12:15, almost 2 full hours.
And what are you doing there?
I'm working out. I'm exercising.
Like the entire time?
Yeah, the entire time.
Just like bicep curls the entire time?
Oh yeah, right in front of the mirror, shirtless, taking selfies, like posing. Believe it or not, you would not believe how many people at my gym I catch, like girls in the bathroom, like taking selfies in front of the mirror, guys taking photos of themselves in front of the weight racks. Yeah, people do that all the time.
Is there any chance they're just taking it like before and afters and they're not sharing it with anybody?
I mean, maybe.
I would say 0% chance.
Yeah, maybe. But if you're taking a before and after photo, most of the time people do that like at home when they can like take their clothes off and, you know, really see not just like a guy in a muscle tee taking a photo of himself holding, you know, the dumbbell or whatever. But yeah, I know it sounds crazy. And just for everybody out there listening, I don't work out every single day for 2 hours a day. I have to live my life. There are some days like today, I'm not going to work out and I just don't worry about it.
So, but you were in your flow yesterday.
But I was in my flow and I was loving it and I was really enjoying it. And I was doing something that it hurts after, but you're so invested in it and you keep doing it that it's, for me, that would be what I would see as a flow state.
Awesome. You know, I think the best one for me is, the best explanation is, so I surf. Not so much the entire session when you're out there, whether it's like an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours or whatever, because you're paddling around, you're looking for stuff. It's when you actually, because as I always like to say, surfing is, you know, 98% paddling and waiting and 2% surfing. Maybe it's even 99 and 1. Especially here in South Florida.
Where you get one day every 5 years.
Stop it. It's more than that. But when you're actually on it and you've caught it and everything, actually as you're catching it, even it probably even starts before, as I'm thinking about it, you know, as you see it coming, you're like, this is it. I'm going on this one. As soon as that happens, you're in flow state all the way to the end. And it's such a cool feeling. And and that's why, I don't know if you get this at the gym or other things, but like when you always surfers have this kind of thought process of just one more. Meaning, so you're out there like, oh, that was good. You know, I've been out here for an hour and a half. I got to get to work, whatever. And you catch one, you're like, oh my God, just one more. And it's such a rush and it's awesome. And so it's a very short flow state. But it's
like that feeling of accomplishment where you like want to do it again. You want to do it again.
Yeah. And even with, I would even say, and then, you know, definitely the cooking side of it. But then also with doing this podcast, I really enjoy it. It's just
we love it.
Once we get it, it's so funny. Once we actually get done and we shut it off or whatever, we both kind of look, you're like, oh, wow, you know, what just happened? And it's really cool.
I don't know. I blacked out.
I think it's just, you know, especially from a flow state, you know, ultimate creativity comes out. And so obviously that's what we're doing here. But then even when you're cooking or working out. So obviously encourage everybody to, you know, to find, you know, what can put you in your flow state even more.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the book. I'll share with you guys how it is when it ends.
Yeah. So that's called The Rise of Superman, and that's by Stephen Kotler.
Yeah. And then so the last part of our segment is we're actually going to take a few reader questions.
That's right, because this was really popular last week when we did this.
It was. However, I did get some negative feedback
really?
About our podcast. Yeah, my best friend, you know, who we actually went to college with, very similar lives and everything. You know, we were both, you know, both fun guys. Now we both have kids and stuff like that. And yeah, he calls me like he's like really into the podcast, and
that's awesome.
It's so cool. It's hey Matt out there. So he kind of calls me. He's He's like, I got to tell you something. I was like, what? And he's like, your podcast last week. He's like, hopefully you can do a better job this week. I'm like, what are you talking about? And I was like, I kind of shared a really personal
You were in your flow state.
I was. And he was like, it's just, the meditation stuff didn't really just jive with me and just whatever. And I was like, fine. I was like, it's, that part might not have been for you, but other things are. But it was so funny because he was like, yes, you'll step it up this week. Don't worry about it. I'm like, I thought I did a really good job.
I think that's part of this whole experience that we're getting used to and that we will get used to. And we just want everybody out there to feel free to leave comments on our Facebook page, email jake@thealternativedaily.com, send us messages, whatever.
And if you want a free hat,
that's
put
right.
in a subject line, free hat. So I only have 50 of these things left.
So you got to email jake@thealternativedaily.com, subject line free hat.
Yeah.
And we will send you truly an awesome Alternative Daily hat. But also just feel free to always send us your thoughts, whether you like something or you don't like something you want to hear, something you think we insulted you, whatever it is. We are super open to continuing this and making everybody out there happy.
And even if you are a huge Rush Limbaugh fan, that's fine.
Yeah, we're not trying to insult anyone.
Yeah. And it's fine. We're trying to see both sides of it. And so the first question is from Mary from Florida. And Mary asks, I'm falling into a rut with my morning smoothies. Can you give me any ideas? So it's funny because we actually had Susan on talking about the smoothies, and obviously avocados are a really cool thing to put in there, just from a standpoint of it not only tastes good, but you just see kind of like an instant change in your smoothies. It's like goes from whether it's a liquidy to whatever to like this silky smooth thing.
Avocados are actually great for adding to your smoothies, especially if you don't use any sort of milk at all, whether that's non-dairy or regular. So avocado is something that you should definitely think about adding to your smoothie. And avocados, because of their taste being relatively neutral, you're not going to be drinking something that tastes like guacamole at all. But there are two other really cool things that you can add to smoothies, and they might seem a little bit odd, but they are actually very, very good for you. And again, you're not going to get any sort of bad taste. And the first is actually sweet potatoes. And this is good because this is good because if you like your smoothies a little bit sweeter overall, this one almost reminds me of something that you would want like in the fall or in the winter, like when you want things that are sort of cinnamon tasting.
Yeah.
Because if you add half a sweet potato, a cooked sweet potato, of course, to your smoothie, and then you mix that with a little bit of nutmeg and cinnamon and ginger. This is where you would want to add a little bit of either dairy milk or non-dairy milk, like, coconut milk or almond milk or what have you. But the great thing about sweet potatoes that most of us know is that it has a ton of beta carotene, which is great, for your eyesight and for heart disease. But also it has 100% of your daily recommended intake of vitamin A.
Oh.
So right away, right there, you could just cross that one off the list. And then a third interesting thing you could add to your smoothies is oats, just old-fashioned rolled oats. You don't have to cook them or anything like that. And I have actually done this before. I use oats a lot in baking, but if you put it into your blender, it will completely just pulverize into the rest of your smoothie. So you don't have to worry about it. Oh, it's raw oats. It's not going to taste good. And of course, as most of us know, the reason most of us love oats so much is that they have a ton of fiber in them. So these are some things: avocados, sweet potatoes, or oats, maybe not all together in one smoothie, but thinking about adding those to your daily smoothies, this could be a good way to sort of break out of the rut of, I'm just throwing a banana and some nut butter in there and going about my day.
Yeah, I'll throw in some. I actually have some like seed oils and stuff that I'll add. Black cumin seed oil is something that I'll add in there. It's really potent. But I just kind of experiment, and so that's that's the best. Obviously, we give you 3 really cool things to add into there, Mary. But just look into your cup, add cinnamon to it. Just
I add cinnamon into my coffee sometimes, and it's really nice. And go to our website, thealternativedaily.com. If you just search smoothies, or even if you punch into Google, smoothie and The Alternative Daily, you will find so many videos and so many articles that we've done with tons and tons of recipes. So you can find something that's seasonal for, now that we're almost into summer.
And it's funny that that you mentioned searching that. I was actually looking through some analytics of like what's most searched and stuff. We actually get a lot of traffic for people looking for smoothies for a good poop. Meaning, so if you're kind of like,
you love this, you love bringing up the poop.
If you're stopped up, if you're constipated, actually, if you just look up smoothies for a good poop, it pulls right on up in number 1 in Google.
Pulling off of that, when I was looking into some of this information on our website last night about avocados, you have a number of articles about avocados helping you poop. And I almost sent you a text message like, good Lord, Jake.
Yeah, it's a popular topic, and it's what people want to hear.
But it's this topic that nobody wants to talk about,
Nobody wants
right?
to talk about. Yeah, it's funny because I'll give everybody a little insight. When we send out articles about poop, they don't get shared on Facebook. However, it's like our best opens and our best, page views are on those articles. And so what actually kind of came down was people love reading it. They're closet poop readers. They love reading it, but they don't want to share that they're reading it and learning about it.
You guys are sick.
Yeah. No, but it's good stuff to know. It's the window to your insides. So it's you always need to peek at it too.
Okay.
We're going to do that in another podcast coming up. And so there you go, Mary. And then next we have, lastly, we have Deb in New York. Deb asks, there's lots being said, in media right now about fluoride, heavy metals, and other chemicals in water. Should I buy a Brita? Or what do you use, Jake? So I've had a Brita. I can say it, a Brita. And it's better than not drinking anything. It's funny. I actually did a test. It was, I think it was like last year, like the tap water here, and we have a pool in the backyard, and I should actually send a picture of it. So in our pool we have a chlorine reader. So you want to see what the chlorine level is. We have a salt pool. It's salt chlorinated, so it's a little bit less terrible. And so what I actually did was, I got my chlorine reading of what the pool was, and it was like in the yellow range or whatever it was, and then I actually took the tap water to gauge it. The tap water had way more. It was more yellow than the actual pool water was. So it had way more chlorine content. And then what I did was then I took a reading from the refrigerator, had a filter in there, and I took a reading of the chlorine on that one. And that one actually was better than both of those, but still had some traces of chlorine in there. And so we're just kind of like, what is in our tap water? That's something you don't think about, right? No. So I do have a Brita that I've been using. However, I do. There's a bunch of other ones out there that are actually better than the Brita. I actually just bought one 2 days ago. It's called the Berkey water filter. And I don't have any feedback on it. I mean, obviously there's comments in what it can remove and stuff like that. It obviously can remove, 100% of chlorine, it can remove fluoride, etc. The one thing that they say is that in case of an emergency, you can really put like anything in there that's like water. You can take pond water and put it in there.
Really?
Yeah, and they even said, and there's like a FAQ on there is, can I put pool water in there? And they said, yeah, dump pool water in there. It'll take all of the chlorine and all the bad stuff out. So it's kind of cool. Like
in case of a disaster.
In case of a disaster, that's what they're pitching. So if there's ever a disaster here, I have a pool that I could actually.
We're all coming over to. You guys are all invited to Palm Beach.
Yeah. So I don't have that yet. That should be coming in shortly.
So nobody's invited yet.
I tried to overnight it. They didn't have the overnight option.
Those bastards.
So that's what I'm gonna try it out because I actually heard a funny story about somebody actually peeing in a Berkey filter and drinking it, and it was completely, they'd taken out all the stuff. I'm not advocating.
Is this like, I know a guy who knows a guy, but it's really
I'm not advocating for that. Definitely was not me. I'm not advocating for that, but I'm just telling you that, supposedly this is like the real deal Holyfield here.
That's crazy.
So I don't have it yet. So Deb, obviously start with a Brita if that's all you have for now. At least get something going. Test your water if you can, if you have a chlorine test. But there's fluoride and stuff in the water. There's a lot of other metals and everything. So definitely get, at least get a Brita if that's the thing that's closest to you. We actually sell a couple on the Alternative Daily. There's a couple other water filters. And then I'll let you guys know how the Berkey actually works out.
Yeah, maybe we'll talk about that next week.
Yeah, cool.
All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for joining us again. Remember, you can find these podcasts on iTunes, where we'd love for you to subscribe to our podcast and also rate it and review it. Again, be as honest as you want to be. We would love to hear that. We're also going to post them on SoundCloud. That's soundcloud.com. But also you can download the SoundCloud app, and that's like a music streaming site also. And thealternativedaily.com.
Yeah, that's it. It actually worked out with Susan.
Yeah, that was cool.
Next week we're doing prank phone calls.
Yeah, who knows where we'll take this.
But it's been a blast. And then lastly, one last plug. If you want your free hat,
yes,
we only have 45 left.
Yeah. It's really ticking away.
No, we have 50 hats left. I only have 50 hats that I can actually give away. So just email jake@thealternativedaily.com. Subject line free hat, and once they're gone, they're gone. And then maybe we'll run another contest soon. But thanks again, everybody, and have a wonderful week.
Bye, everyone.